Years ago when I was at college, a friend came to me once and he said, "Want to go parachuting?" Well, I had just broken up with a girlfriend and I was pretty devastated. So when I heard the opportunity of jumping out of an airplane, and I thought to myself, I said, if I jumped out of an airplane, I bet I wouldn't be as upset about the girl that I just broke up with. And so I said, I'd do it. Well, once I got back to the dorm and told the other guys, 5 other guys said, I'm going to jump as well. So we all go to the Laurinburg-Maxton Airport. Now, I want you to really get, this is a postage stamp airport. And as we were getting there and we got set up, we started to train and we practice, and they have you do all types of practices like, what you're supposed to do. The key thing is, how do you jump out? How do you manage the chute? What do you do if your chute gets tangled? What do you do if your chute doesn't come out? How do you grab the reserve and pull it? All these aspects occurs. So we're going through the whole process, and then we're just about ready to get on the plane, and a gentleman rolls out in a wheelchair, and we find out he's the Toastmasters veteran that got into the chair by an accident of jumping out of a plane. This added a little stress as he wheeled out, and I just remember him saying, "Are any of you afraid of jumping out of this airplane?" And of course, before we could answer, he said, because if you're not afraid of jumping out of an airplane, then I'm not letting you on the plane, because there's only 2 things that fall out of the sky, bird poop and parachuters. And if you aren't afraid of jumping out of a perfectly good airplane, we're not even letting you jump. So we agreed that we were afraid. So we admitted we're afraid. We get in the airplane. So I'm getting in the airplane, and it's a tiny Cessna airplane. I had no idea how cramped it'd be for us all to fit in. So I'm like cramped in and back with my little suit on. I'm in the line. Someone else had agreed. They said, I want to be the first person. So the first guy, we got our helmets on. We got our gear on. It's static line, because back then they let you jump the first time with static line. Now you're attached like some type of creature to a body, probably a lot easier to do than static line. So we're in this little Cessna, we're flying, and then my friend gets up to the top, the first one, and they open the door. I had no idea how much wind there is. You're running at like 300 or 400 miles an hour. I didn't do the math of what it's like when you open the door of an airplane running at 300 or 400 miles an hour. So you got the rush of the wind coming in. So that sort of affects me a little bit. Then he gets up front and he gets ready, and I see him jump out of the airplane. And I'm like, I think I'm the next one in line, but I'm pretty close to it. And when he jumps out of the airplane, all of a sudden I hear a slap against the plane. And I'm convinced that what that is his helmet hitting the airplane. Well, later I find out it was actually the static line hit it, but my mind didn't get that. It thought his head slammed into the side of the airplane, and all of a sudden my legs stopped working. They're dead. They're not working. I'm obviously in some type of like shock from that occurred. So now it's my turn. Well, I'm determined. I'm a college kid. I'm determined to get out of that airplane. So I'm dragging myself forward on the plane because my legs don't work. So I'm basically pulling myself forward and kind of getting my legs. Then I get there and I lift up my legs and prop them on the stand. And now he says, put one leg out and hold on to the strut. So I'm holding on to the strut. And he says, when I say 3, go. 1, 2, and he hit me so hard in the stomach. I went, what? And then I threw back, and I'm going out of the plane at 300 miles an hour, flying out of this thing. I really didn't realize how intense it was going to be when I jumped out. At that point, I'm starting to go down. I've got a walkie-talkie strapped onto my arm, and it's a one-way walkie-talkie. And then I'm counting. So it's 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, and then nothing's coming out. I'm at 4 1,000, whatever it is. I've gone past the time. Nothing's come out, so I have no chute. So I'm hearing over the walkie-talkie, it says, your chute hasn't opened. And I'm talking back to it like, no crap, definitely, I get that. I think I said something else. But anyway, then what happens is he says, well, now what you have to do is get ready to open your reserve chute. So, okay, I'm thinking about that, and I'm starting to get my hand on the reserve chute, and then I feel a little tug. And then all of a sudden, I notice the chute comes up. And now I look at my chute, and it's flapping randomly in the wind. and what I had is a tangled opening. This isn't too good either. So he says, you've got a tangled opening. You have to release that chute first before you can open your reserve. And I remember them saying, if both are open, you're a rock with a flag attached. So we got to release that. So I reach up and I release one of the levers, and it starts to loosen up. Now I'm releasing the first level, the second. All of a sudden, the canopy opens up fully, and I realize I just about almost completely let go of a perfectly good parachute. So then he goes, you got canopy, you're all good. And I went, no, I'm not all good. I got these things happily leased. So at least I knew then to close the little levers, close those levers down. I closed them, and then the next thing I remember is almost boring. I'm like floating down in this little chair, peacefully looking around. And I also remember at this point he said to me, he says, important tip, if you hit the trees, you'd be surprised how you come out. That means you bring lambs. If you go to the water, you're going to be dead, and you're just not going to make it because you'll drown immediately. So I'm making sure I'm avoiding the trees and the other. And then this girl says, when I finally land and I got dirt on my face, she goes, want to jump again? I go, no, I'm alive. This is good. I'm good. I'm good. So that's my adventure.